Hi, this is James Wiebeck for Intro to World Music, individual research paper, daily, but hopefully not a dollar short. What I did here, I hope you don't mind, I've got all my notes just on my computer so I can see all the links that I'm telling you to look at, and I've got the links posted, or they will be posted rather, on YouTube on your sidebar here, and if I can figure out how to do it with the annotation function, so you'll know exactly which link I'm telling you to look for instead of having to search around for it. In order to find out about my ancestry, I actually had to call my grandmother because apparently no one knows what we are. And we're predominantly Latvian, so I chose that to be the focus of what the paper, or presentation rather, is about. And what I figured I would do is just run down the list. I researched each thing individually and figured I'd give you sort of a small picture of what Latvia sort of offers in the world music scene. So starting with the family migration history, it's rooted in World War II. My grandmother, when she was very young, they were actually fleeing from the Russians as the Russians were pursuing the Nazis west, as World War II was sort of in its later stages. And supposedly she was put in some kind of version of a concentration camp. I don't know, her stories aren't always entirely that accurate, but there was some kind of persecution. They fled to the United States for asylum, and that's sort of where that main portion of my family came from. They are one of these small countries in Eastern Europe near Russia, Lithuania, Estonia, that northern section of Eastern Europe, former Soviet bloc countries, I believe. Religious affiliation, there hasn't been a significant amount of religious conflict in Latvia. It's largely Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and Lutheran, all of them almost equal in number, without significant populations of any other religion or atheism. The region, I actually found, I kind of killed two birds with one stone, found a bunch of Latvian folk music, put two pictures of a person's trip to Latvia. That link should be, I'm just going to title that one Latvian Pictures and Music. It's about 8 minutes long, don't have to watch the whole thing, just however much of it you need to sort of get the picture, so to speak. Food is pretty typical of Eastern Europe. Most notably, what they can call pierogies are very, very different from what you'd buy at the store or what you'd probably know as pierogies in any other culture. This particular one is, it's almost like a croissant, only not buttery, flaky, or entirely very good tasting, and filled with ham. It's not a very special dish, but that's the only thing that I could find that was Latvian and not just a general Eastern European dish. So, on to the music. Latvia is, while their folk music, I mean, all countries in this region have their own folk music, and it's respectable in their own ways. But what they're really known for is excelling in symphony orchestra and choral music. As far as instruments, I couldn't find anything that was particularly interesting in more modern times, but I found a little bit of information on sort of their own version of a zither that they use. This picture, I'll just call this link, the Latvian kokle, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, is it says it's from the year 1282. I don't know if that's good for, if that's, later or newer than most the instruments of its time, but it's, correction, sorry, the picture's from 1282, the instrument itself could be up to 2,000 years old, but it's pretty standard for the region. So there's that. Let's see, what was I going to go on to here? Bear with me for a moment. Okay. Now, next I upload some, or rather, there's already uploaded some, a small Latvian folk group, And they're, again, pretty typical of the folk music I found, very vocally heavy, using accordions and those kinds of instruments. I think I'll call that vocal heavy folk music. That's the link to go to for that one. I couldn't find a translation, and I don't think Babelfish has a Latvian to English translator, so the lyrics you might just have to guess. So among that, their folk music tends to be, like I said, very vocally heavy, but also very positive in nature. From what my grandmother told me, they tend to have negative music or sort of expressive music, but put everything in very positive tones, which was at least relatively interesting, for me at least. Moving on to more modern times. Their more modern music is less than desirable. Now, this is not their orchestral music, I'm talking about their pop music. What they're trying to do is sort of westernize everything, but they're doing so with a sort of tenuous grasp on what Western culture really looks like, and you get a lot of things that almost sound like bad Depeche Mode cover bands, and a lot of just strange sounding pop music. This link is a woman who's very popular in Latvia, a pop singer. You can tell by her awkward dancing that hopefully this isn't the best they have. Her name's Leen. That'll be the name of that the clip. But there have been some better attempts to modernize, and one of them was the Latvian Symphony Orchestra with DJ Monsta sort of adding some backdrop, and I believe this is called James in Peril. And I particularly enjoyed this clip, so I'll just call that one James in Peril or Latvian Symphony Orchestra. Hopefully I'll remember one of those two when I go to upload the video. Overall, I found that Latvian music, it's on the folk side, it's not entirely very interesting when compared to any other Eastern European country. But when I looked at their choral music and their orchestral music, I found that they had there's a striking difference in the degree of skill and the musicianship and just the dedication to craft. They have some very well respected, very well respected opera and national symphony. And checking either one of those out, if you're into choral music or symphonies, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's my conclusion. I hope you found Latvian music to at least be somewhat interesting. It was interesting to me, and have a nice day.